It's only when you antagonize me. And you know what the Hulk said, you don't want to see me angry. If you put me on a screen next to fill in the blank, yeah, the seams on my clothes are going to start to rip apart. We've heard a lot today about the need to deliver a positive, upbeat message. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. But there are times when we cannot allow ourselves to be steamrolled over. There are times when we need to put the war in the happy warrior part and step up to the plate. I put on a happy face every morning when I realize every single day what a blessing it is to live in this great country. I don't consider myself an Asian American, a female American, a brown American. I'm out of the closet. I am a raw American. And I know you are all so well informed that you know where that phrase comes from. It's stuck under my skin and got in my craw several weeks ago when it was reported that apparently one of the curators of the 9/11 Museum apparently had reservations about that iconic photo after 9/11 where the firefighters were raising the flag and it beckoned and was very reminiscent of Iwo Jima. And apparently they were afraid that it would be too uber patriotic to include that photo because it was too rah American. That's the only time I will put a hyphen by American. Rah American. How about you?
Yeah.
I want to congratulate all of the winners of the Activism and Blogger Awards, and it's always a happy occasion when I come to speak at events like this, and you've got this confluence of defending the dream and right online, because my American dream has come because of my ability to communicate online. And each and every one of us is blessed to live in the 21st century where we can take control over what has long been a monopoly on the media. I lived through the age 20 years ago when you could count on one hand the number of prominent conservatives who held positions in mainstream media. And what gives these people an ulcer is the fact that every single one of you is a citizen journalist or citizen activist who can grab the reins of the power that they have held for so long. I would be remiss if I continued without asking for you to pray for one of my closest friends in the blogosphere and someone who I know probably all of you have read. His name is Jim Hoft. He's at Gateway Pundit on Twitter and Gateway Pundit online. And this man is your classic, average, ordinary citizen who built something from nothing. When I started in the blogosphere in 2005, he had already been around for a year. He had a passion, like so many of you did, for grassroots conservative activism. And over the years, he worked really hard in his off time, in his spare time, building up a blog. He worked for the Dial Corporation as a human resource manager, and there's so many incredible stories like this. My friend Ed Morrissey of Captain's Quarters, who worked for a call center. So many ordinary, average people who wouldn't have been able to enter the elite Sorbonne of mainstream media, able to do what the mainstream media wouldn't do, which is tell the truth and report the facts. If you're able to get on Twitter right now, I hope you'll use a hashtag #GetWellJim. He's been very ill the last several weeks. He's in the hospital now. He's got to get an aorta valve replaced after suffering an infection.
Ouch.
And I hope you all lift him up in prayer and in your spirits. He's inspired me because of his example of relentlessness and ferocity, while at the same time having that happy warrior face. Jim, we're thinking of you, and we're pulling for you, and we need you back in this fight. Who was here for Defending the Dream last year? How many of you remember when I brought on stage my buckyballs? For those of you who weren't here, I told the story of this company that manufactured buckyballs. They're a little play toy of high-powered magnets. And the federal government went after them because they thought it was their paramount duty to protect people from their own stupidity and lack of responsibility, because they were so concerned that parents wouldn't exercise their discretion to make sure that these kids weren't swallowing the toys. I am sad to report to you that essentially Buckyballs has gone out of business with regard to that line of their product. No, this is not good. What are you talking about? You never applaud when the government crushes a business that it doesn't like. When the government picks winners and losers, when the government acts as a nanny, when the government encroaches upon people's right to determine their happiness and their passions, that is tyranny. I have more stories to tell you about this year. And unlike the stories that come out of the mouths of our commander-in-chief, or a certain mayor in a certain city in New Jersey, they tell fables, we tell truths. And none of the characters in my stories tonight are composite. They were real individuals and patriots who understood that you can do well in America and do good at the same time. And this is something that the control freak, top-down bureaucrats and progressives don't understand. The do-gooders. The do-gooders who demonize makers and creators who unapologetically pursue their own self-interest, and yes, the P-word, profit. And I want to start out with someone we all know from history, at a time before Common Core, when they actually taught real common history. And in American history and in English literature, children used to have to memorize the Ride of Paul Revere. So through the night rode Paul Revere, and so through the night went his cry of alarm to every Middlesex village and farm, a cry of defiance, not of fear. Here's the rest of the story. Everyone knows that Paul Revere was essentially our first social media entrepreneur. Okay? An early warning system. But his life did not stop in 1775. And I've been doing a lot of research and deriving so much inspiration from his life. Because for the next several decades, he became one of the leading founding tech titans of America. And you all know a silversmith because of his father. But did you know that he went on to establish one of the first ironworks foundries in America? And that he went from manufacturing spoons and teapots to manufacturing spikes. And then took his knowledge and applied it to build one of the first rolling copper mills in this country. That he was always striving for self-improvement and self-knowledge and self-betterment. And that he did it because he wanted to better himself and his country at the same time. What an incredible life this man lived. And at the end of it, he passed on this business to his son. And the copper works part of his business still exists today. An amazing man. And no, it's not racist for me to celebrate one of the white founding fathers. One of the most important things that we can do for our children as we gird them for a future where the American dream is under attack is to look back in order to move forward. And the inculcation of entrepreneurial values is missing, not only from American school curricula, but also in our culture. We live in a culture where Hollywood demonizes businessmen, where small business people are constantly under attack, where there is very little appreciation for people who are self-made. Remember last year that one of the more hopeful moments was when grassroots conservatives, limited government constitutionalists, and pro-free market activists rose up and had a cry of defiance when the man in charge of our economy told the people who are the engine of the economy that they didn't build that. And if there's any takeaway from that campaign, it's that there needs to be sustained evangelism in inculcating pride in entrepreneurialism. And I'm not just talking about large corporations and established businesses. I'm talking about mom and pop shops. I'm talking about the stay-at-home mom who runs a business on the side while she's homeschooling. That is an American patriot and hero. And I talk often about the miracle of the mundane, because one of the things that makes America exceptional is that it's not merely the extraordinary and the most genius who are able to profit from their ideas, but those who have ideas that bring comfort to our lives. Those who don't simply settle for the good enough. I don't have buckyballs, but today I brought a flashlight. This is a mag light. How many of you own one? It is a symbol around the world of quality, durability, precision, elegance, and the American dream. I had the pleasure of interviewing Anthony Maglica, who is the president and founder of Maglite. This man came here to the United States with nothing. He was penniless. He was an immigrant from Croatia. And in fact, yeah, that's in Croatia's out there. During the Depression, he had to go back to Croatia with his mother, and he lived under fascist occupation and rule. And it was during that time of adversity that he came to love everything that America stood for. And when he had an opportunity to come back here in the 50s, he strove to make a name for himself and to make something. You know, our parents, my parents, have always urged me to have a hard work ethic and make something of myself. And the way we make something of ourselves is to make something. Not to use our power and influence to destroy. An ideology that is based on theft and confiscation and total disregard for the rule of law and the Constitution and property rights does not know how to build things. They only know how to destroy. Is 82 years old. He has a factory in Ontario, Canada, and to this day, he is on the factory floor at 5 o'clock in the morning, and he doesn't leave until after his last employee has left the floor at 9 o'clock at night. What makes creators tick? It's a thirst, it's a gratitude, it's a never-ending quest for self-improvement and self-knowledge. And whether you're black or white or brown or yellow, you can make it here in this country like you can't in any other country in the world. In my personal history with the likes of Anthony Maglica or Paul Revere or many of you who have started your own businesses, have family businesses, handed them down. But we have this common thread. It's that vaunted electric cord of liberty that runs through generations of Americans. And when we talk to people outside of our political sphere, this is what they need to feel, is that electricity of opportunity. I have it in my bloodstream. I'm trying to pass it on to my own children. You know, I've been very protective of my kids' privacy over the years, and you can't blame me, given the photoshops of me, and even with one of my son, who was a baby at the time, with the progressive left. But I'm proud to announce that my 13-year-old daughter has come out of the closet. And I know the libertarians in the room will be very amused to know that she identifies more of a libertarian than as a social conservative. It's a phase. But more importantly, she has absorbed my own passion and my own love of entrepreneurship. This summer, she started her own company. And I'm going to do a little crony capitalism. It's not crony capitalism if it's all coming out of your pocketbook, right? She loves to do her nails. And she started a business called Markless Nails. You can write this down. MARBLEOUS nails.com. Because she was constantly online, she's very artistic, and she saw that there were a lot of girls who were struggling with a certain technique. It's called water marble. And if there are any teenage girls, tweenage girls here, you'll love it. So she decided to use her own intellectual capital and put together a little kit. It's now online, and she's just getting started. She's been a little bit frustrated because it's hard to get the word spread out there. But I let her have a Twitter account, and she's out there tweeting, and she knows, as a startup, that there are no guarantees of success. There's only to be guaranteed that you can try. And this is one of the most fundamental lessons of free market capitalism. We're not supposed to bail out every last failed business that can't offer a product that people want. We have a product to sell to our neighbors, to our families, to our friends, to our coworkers. We are selling them the greatest product on earth, freedom. We have an obligation to our parents and our grandparents and our forefathers and our foremothers to sell it any way we can, the best we can. Sometimes that means putting on a happy face, and sometimes it means getting in their face. Why, thank you. As I said on Twitter the other day, when somebody was criticizing my eyes, I love my crazy eyes. When you go back to your hometowns, I want you to know that you're not alone, and that we are carrying the burden of fighting for our country together. It can be a source of despair sometimes when you're clicking across those channels. And if you're not watching somebody twerking, you are watching people's knees jerking. And in many ways, it's frustrating because a lot of times you see people in Washington who have no fight left in them. And if you're dissatisfied with your representation, replace it. You know, one of the most enduring mottos of the Tea Party is, you can't fix stupid, but you can vote it out. Each and every one of us is a torchbearer, whether we literally make flashlights or we stand figuratively as beacons. One of my favorite lines from my friend Jim Hoft, who I mentioned, the blogger, is the line that's on his blog. And it says, where hope makes a comeback. And that's what we represent. Because it's the hopes and dreams of those who came before us that we are carrying on for our children. And this is a conundrum of the American dream, isn't it? Because every successive generation has been able to improve upon the last. And there are times when we feel that that journey has come to an end. And I tell you, hell no, it hasn't. Look back, march forward. Happy warriors who remember both components of that phrase. Be happy and rejoice in your family and in your faith, in commercial success and spiritual success, but be ready for war. Thank you so much, and God bless you.